The Edotians were the scourge of the galaxy, butchering and enslaving entire species for millennia, until the so-called Masters made the fatal mistake of daring to dominate humans as pets. For eons, the reptilian Edosian Empire waged genocidal campaigns of conquest across the stars, subjugating dozens of alien civilizations. Led by the ruthless Emperor Grus, the Edosians stripped conquered worlds bare and forced the broken survivors into bondage and servitude. With their empire spanning countless systems, the Edosians grew complacent, assured of their supremacy. That arrogance would be their undoing, as they failed to anticipate the indomitable human spirit. When Edosian raiders struck remote human colonies, they rounded up men, women, and children as exotic pets for the Edosian elite. Little did they realize those pets would orchestrate the Empire's downfall from within. Now Nathan Dixon, a battle-hardened human mercenary, prepares to lead a daring mission into the heart of Edosian space. Contracted by the Galactic Council, a secret alliance of free alien races, Dixon and his hand-picked team of elite soldiers must infiltrate the Edosian throne world. Their objective? Unearth vulnerabilities in the Edosians' vast war machine and military capabilities. Failure means not only the team's certain death, but also the eventual extermination of humanity and the continued suffering of countless enslaved aliens. As Dixon and his squad plunge into hostile territory, they face impossible odds. Every shadow could conceal an enemy patrol, every Edosian civilian a potential informant. The Imperial Home Guard, most elite of the Edosian forces, garrison the planet, alert for any hint of dissent or rebellion. Dixon and his soldiers must navigate this deadly labyrinth, gathering intelligence to shatter the myth of Edosian invincibility. All the while, they'll be hunted by the merciless Praetorians, the Emperor's fanatic honor guard. Time is the enemy, each hour bringing the Edosian fleets closer to the defenseless worlds of the Galactic Council. For the sake of humanity and all free species, this mission must succeed, no matter the odds, no matter the cost. As the stolen Edosian freighter docked at a remote spaceport on the Imperial homeworld, Dixon and his squad emerged in the guise of hardened slavers. Their forged documents and gruff demeanor allowed them to slip past the watchful eyes of Edosian security. Navigating the seedy underbelly of the capital city, they followed encrypted coordinates to a nondescript warehouse in the industrial district. Inside, they were greeted by a towering Edosian adorned with scars, Zaxis, the defector-turned-resistance leader. "I never thought I'd see the day when humans walked freely on Eidos Prime," Zaxis hissed. "But if you're half as skilled as my contacts claim, we might just have a chance." Dixon sized up the former general. "We're not here for pleasantries. What intel do you have that's worth risking our necks?" Zaxis activated a holographic display, revealing schematics of a massive underground complex. "This, my human friends, is the Iridium Vault, the source of our Empire's power. Every weapon, every warship is fueled by the rare mineral mined here." Ghost, the team's infiltration specialist, leaned in for a closer look. "That place is a fortress. We'd need an army to get inside." "Not an army," Zaxis replied. "Just the right team hitting the right targets. Sabotage the Iridium refinery and you cripple the Imperial war machine." Dixon turned to his squad. "Ghost, you and Riggs scout out the facility. Find us a way in. The rest of you prep for the infiltration. We move at nightfall." But as Ghost slipped into the shadows surrounding the vault, his luck ran out. An Edosian patrol spotted him, and a flurry of blaster fire erupted in the night. Ghost fell, and the patrol dragged his unconscious form into the depths of the vault. Word of the human infiltrator spread like wildfire, reaching the Imperial Palace. Emperor Grus, intrigued by this development, dispatched his Praetorian Guard to bring Dixon to him, alive. In the opulent throne room, Dixon stood before Grus, shackled but defiant. The Emperor leaned forward, his eyes glinting with malice. "Nathan Dixon, the human mercenary who dared to challenge the might of the Edosian Empire. I have studied your species, your history, such capacity for violence, for conquest. You would make a valuable asset to our cause." Dixon spat at the Emperor's feet. "I'd rather die than serve you, you scaly bastard." Gruss laughed, a cold, cruel sound. "Oh, I'm not offering you a choice, human. Join me, lead my armies to greater glories, and your team lives. Defy me, and they die, one by one, until you break." As Praetorian guards dragged in Ghost and the others, beaten and bruised, Dixon felt the weight of the impossible decision before him. Betray everything he believed in, or watch his friends, his brothers in arms, perish. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the choice was his to make. Dixon clenched his jaw, the weight of his decision bearing down on him like a collapsing star. He looked to his battered team, their faces etched with defiance, even in the face of certain death. In that moment, he knew he could never betray them, or the countless lives depending on their mission. With a deep breath, Dixon turned to Gruss, his eyes hard as steel. "I accept your offer, Emperor. I will lead your armies to victory." A cruel smile spread across Gruss's scaly features. "A wise choice, human. You will be a valuable asset to the Adosian Empire." As the Praetorians released Dixon from his shackles, he caught Ghost's gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. This was not surrender, but a new phase of their mission. Days later, Dixon stood on the bridge of an Adosian warship, clad in the armor of an Imperial commander. Gruss had tasked him with leading an assault on a rebel stronghold on Theron, a nearby moon. As the ship entered orbit, Dixon turned to his Adosian subordinates. "Prepare the drop pods. We'll catch the rebels by surprise and crush them before they can mount a defense." But as the pods hurtled towards the moon's surface, Dixon's fingers flew across his wrist-mounted computer, sending a series of coded signals. Moments later, the Adosian weapon systems flickered and died, their communications reduced to static. Chaos erupted as the pods touched down, rebel forces surging forward to engage the disoriented Adosians. Amid the confusion, Dixon slipped away, making his way to the stronghold's detention block. He found Ghost in a cell, bruised but unbroken. "About time you showed up," Ghost quipped as Dixon blasted open the lock. "Had to make it look convincing," Dixon replied, tossing Ghost a captured Adosian blaster. "Come on, we've got a mining facility to destroy." Hijacking an Adosian dropship, the pair flew low across the planet's surface, skimming beneath sensor ranges until they reached the Iridium Vault. They infiltrated the complex, planting explosives at critical junctures. As alarms blared and Adosian guards closed in, Dixon and Ghost fought their way back to the surface, a trail of destruction in their wake. Bursting from the vault's entrance, they found themselves face to face with Ripper, Boomer, and Deadeye, weapons drawn and grins wide. "Thought you could use a ride," Ripper called, gesturing to a waiting rebel transport. The team piled in, the ship rocketing skyward as the Iridium Vault exploded behind them, the shockwave nearly knocking them from the sky. From orbit, they watched as secondary explosions ripped across the planet's surface, Adosian ships and bases going dark as their iridium reserves ran dry. But their victory was short-lived. News reached them of Gruss's retaliation, a massive invasion fleet bearing down on the rebel-held systems, the Emperor's rage fueling a campaign of annihilation. Dixon looked to his team, his brothers in arms. "This is just the beginning. We've hurt the Adosians, but now we need to rally the resistance, build a force that can take on Gruss and end his reign of terror once and for all." The others nodded, grim determination etched on their faces. They knew the path ahead would be bathed in blood and sacrifice, but they were ready. For the sake of the galaxy, they would fight to their last breath. As the rebel transport jumped to FTL, carrying them to their next mission, Dixon allowed himself a moment of reflection. The boy who had been taken as a pet, the mercenary out for profit, was gone. In his place stood a soldier, a leader, a man who had found a cause worth dying for. And he knew without a shadow of a doubt that he would see this through to the end, no matter the cost. Under cover of darkness, Dixon and his team slipped undetected into the Adosian capital. Their objective, capture Emperor Gruss and end the war once and for all. Navigating the labyrinthine streets, they made their way to the Imperial Palace. But as they breached the gates, they discovered a horrifying truth. Grus had been experimenting with iridium, fusing the raw power of the mineral with cybernetic enhancements. The Emperor himself emerged, a monstrous fusion of flesh and machine. Behind him, his elite guard, each augmented with iridium-powered cybernetics, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "Did you really think you could defeat me?" Grus roared, his voice a mechanical distortion. "I have transcended mortality itself." Dixon and his team opened fire, but the enhanced Edosians shrugged off their blaster bolts like raindrops. They charged forward, moving with inhuman speed and strength. Ripper and Boomer took point, engaging the elite guard head-on. They fought with savage ferocity, but for each guard they took down, another seemed to take its place. "Ghost," Dixon shouted over the chaos, "we need those defenses offline now." Ghost nodded, ducking and weaving through the battle to reach a control panel. His fingers flew across the keys, hacking into the city's defense grid. Meanwhile, Dixon found himself face-to-face with Grus. The Emperor lashed out with a cybernetic claw, the razor-sharp talons slicing through Dixon's armor like paper. Dixon retaliated with a flurry of blows, but Grus's enhancements made him faster, stronger. A backhand sent Dixon flying, crashing into a stone pillar. Grus loomed over him, a cruel smile twisting his features. "Pathetic human, you thought you could challenge the might of the Edosian Empire." He raised his claw for the killing blow, but a shot rang out. Grus staggered, a hole punched clean through his chest. Dixon looked up to see Deadeye, perched on a nearby rooftop, rifle smoking. Grus collapsed, black blood pooling around him. Dixon limped over, standing over the fallen Emperor. "Why?" Dixon asked, his voice raw. "Why all this death and destruction?" Grus coughed, a wet, rattling sound. "A prophecy. A warrior from the stars destined to destroy us. I sought to prevent that fate, to enslave the galaxy and ensure our survival." With a final shudder, Grus went still, his cybernetic eyes flickering and fading. Across the city, the Edosian defenses fell silent as Ghost's hack took hold. The rebel forces surged forward, securing key positions and capturing the remaining Edosian leaders. But their victory was short-lived. A message came through on all frequencies, a grim-faced Zaxis on the screen. "Dixon, we have a problem. General Zoran has gone rogue. He's threatening to detonate a planet killer, a weapon that could wipe out entire systems." Dixon looked to his team, to the battered but unbroken soldiers who had been through hell and back with him. "Then we stop him," Dixon said, his voice filled with grim determination. "No matter the cost." Intelligence reports led Dixon, Ghost, Deadeye, and Zaxis to a remote asteroid field on the fringes of Edosian space. Hidden among the tumbling rocks was Zoran's secret base, where the rogue general was readying his devastating planet-killer weapon for deployment. The team infiltrated the base through a maintenance airlock, their weapons drawn and senses alert. Edosian soldiers patrolled the corridors, but Dixon and his squad moved with practiced efficiency, neutralizing the guards before they could raise the alarm. As they delved deeper into the asteroid base, the resistance intensified. Zoran's loyal soldiers fought with the desperate fervor of fanatics, their blasters spitting deadly energy bolts. Deadeye and Zaxis provided covering fire, their shots precise and lethal, while Dixon and Ghost pushed forward, determined to reach the control room. Alarms blared as they breached the final security door. Inside, Ghost rushed to the weapons control console, his fingers flying over the keys as he worked to disable the firing mechanism. Dixon and Deadeye took up defensive positions, ready for the inevitable counterattack. It came in the form of Zoran himself, flanked by his elite guard. The Edosian general was a towering figure, his body augmented with iridium-powered cybernetics. His eyes glowed with a malevolent red light as he surveyed the intruders. "You're too late," Zoran sneered. "The weapon is primed and ready. In moments your precious rebel worlds will be nothing but ashes." Dixon raised his blaster, his voice cold. "Not on my watch." The room erupted into chaos, blaster fire crisscrossing the air. Deadeye took down two of the elite guards with quick, precise shots, but a third managed to flank him. The guard's shot caught Deadeye in the side, sending him sprawling. Dixon rushed to his fallen comrade, laying down, suppressing fire. But Zoran was faster, closing the distance with inhuman speed. His cybernetic fist slammed into Dixon's chest, sending him flying across the room. As Dixon struggled to rise, he saw Ghost slump over the console, a blaster wound smoking in his back. Zoran stood over him, a cruel smile on his face. "You never had a chance," the general gloated. "The Adosian Empire will rise again, and your pathetic rebellion will be crushed beneath our heel." Dixon charged, tackling Zoran in a desperate bid to buy Ghost more time. They grappled across the control room, trading blows that would have shattered ordinary bones. Dixon's rage and determination fueled his attacks, but Zoran's iridium-enhanced strength was overwhelming. The general's metal fist closed around Dixon's throat, lifting him off the ground. Black spots swam in Dixon's vision as he gasped for air, his lungs burning. But then a voice cut through the haze. "Dixon!" It was Ghost, his words thin and blood-flecked. "It's done." Zoran's head snapped towards the console, his eyes widening in disbelief. Ghost's hand rested on the override switch, the weapon's systems powering down. Dixon seized his chance. He grabbed Zoran's cybernetic arm and activated his suit's EMP generator. The general screamed as electricity surged through his enhancements, overloading them in a shower of sparks. An alarm blared, warning of an imminent core overload. Dixon staggered to his feet, his face etched with grief as he looked at the bodies of his fallen comrades. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'll make this count, I promise." He ran, dodging falling debris and explosions as the base tore itself apart. He barely made it to the hangar bay, leaping into a small shuttle just as a wall of fire consumed the room. From orbit, Dixon watched as the asteroid base exploded, a miniature sun blooming in the void. Tears streamed down his face as he thought of Ghost, Deadeye, Ripper, and Boomer, the brothers he had lost in this war. In the weeks that followed, the Galactic Council worked to dismantle the remnants of the Adosian Empire, liberating the enslaved worlds and helping them rebuild. They offered Dixon a place in their ranks, a chance to lead the galaxy into a new era of peace. But Dixon couldn't do it. The weight of his losses, the scars of the horrors he had witnessed, were too much to bear. He turned his back on the Council, on the accolades and the titles, and struck out on his own. He became a lone wolf, a mercenary who hunted down the worst of the worst, the warlords and tyrants who sought to fill the void left by the Adosians. He fought for the innocent, for the oppressed, driven by a promise made to fallen friends. And as he set out on another mission, his ship cutting through the stars, Dixon knew that he would carry on, for Ghost, for Deadeye, for all those who had sacrificed everything to bring hope to a galaxy in chains. Their legacy would endure, even as he carried the weight of their memory into an uncertain future. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.